Welcome to the Earthtide Studios podcast. I'm your host, Zach Knight, and I'm here with my gloriously moustached and slightly cheeky co-host, Dan Ralph. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Always cheeky. You know me.
Yeah, especially when you've
sitting in here at Earthtide Studios recording some podcasts.
Yeah, having a fun time. You got to pat the cat before, and that was luxurious and very fluffy.
Oh, he sure is fluffy. I sure do love petting cats.
That's for sure. I mean, look, he was a bit grumpy when you got in because I hadn't fed him yet, but that's okay. He's been fed now, and
he full tried to bitch slap me.
Yeah, well, that's because you were getting up in his space.
Man, I was just patting him. He was fine. He was enjoying it. He was purring. He was like rubbing his face up against my hand, and then did these 3 tiny little bitch slaps to my hand and ran away.
Yeah, well, you were trying to get on the seat and he was on the seat. You were trying to take
doing nothing of the sort.
You were trying to take his throne. Yeah. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Bygones be bygones, and Gandalf will probably forget because, let's be real, he's a cat. But anyway, so this podcast today is we're just going to put a disclaimer here. This podcast was probably one of the most fun ones that we've done by far.
Yes.
But this podcast is not for the faint-hearted. This particular episode, that is for sure. And if you're not into hearing somebody with a very heavy old man opinion on things, then best turn off right now. But otherwise, if you like things going a little interesting, and if you like your comedy and you like the music industry, then this episode is definitely for you, because who did we have on, Dan?
We had my oldest and dearest friend Jordy Mitchell on.
You can't see right now, but Dan looks slightly embarrassed.
Not embarrassed at all. I love that man. He's fantastic.
No, he's not embarrassing. It's just more that
look, there was a lot of banter in this one. Things got a bit personal at times. So
suffice to say, I don't think that we're actually going to have a more personal podcast episode than this one that we just had, especially because it's Jordy and he is literally one of your closest, if not your closest friends. So he really knows way too much about you, but you don't want the rest of the world to know.
I should never have let this happen.
You shouldn't have let that happen. No. But yeah, look, honestly, we could talk about this for quite a while, but the episode will really speak for itself. And if at any stage that you feel that you have a problem with anything on this episode, please feel free to let us know, either, on our Instagram, on Facebook, or send us an email as well. What's the email address now? It was earthtidepodcast@gmail.com, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, we should know our own email address.
We really should. That'd be a thing to
do on a professional podcast. Yeah, sure. Which is what we've got right now.
Of course.
Anyway, on that note, if you guys enjoy the podcast, please just let us know. We would really, really love if you could put a review on iTunes for us. 5 stars is great, but look, any review will do.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
And if you did like what you heard from Jordy, you can check him out at jordy.comedian on Instagram, or he runs a room at Death or Glory on Chapel Street in Paran. So check that out.
No Death or Glory is actually part of the show. The venue is called Death or Glory. But I mean, if you want to turn up and challenge Jordy to a cage fight, I'm sure he'd be open. You'd probably lose though.
Potentially.
Anyway, on that note, let's get into the episode, Dan. Let's do it. My name is Dan, and I started a podcast with Zach, but I regret talking.
Shit, man. Why are you going to come at me like this?
Yeah, because I know how to lie. No, I don't. That's a lie.
That is a fucking lie.
Big lie.
Straight up.
I know.
Oh my
for
God.
fuck's sake.
Dan, what are you doing, mate? We're trying to podcast here, bro.
Yeah,
on that note,
I was about to say, stop checking your watch. You're making me nervous.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Welcome to the Earthtide podcast.
Seriously, you haven't masturbated today. You okay? Sorry.
That's okay. You can just cut me out in the intro.
I was trying to silence it and it just made an even louder noise.
Stays.
This is definitely all staying.
This stays.
Your stuff, Dan. Well, I love this. Welcome to the Earthtide podcast. I'm your host, Zach Knight, here with my gloriously moustached and very embarrassed co-host, Dan Ralph. How you doing, dude?
Embarrassed, obviously. Here we are.
Well, it's okay. And man, how you been doing? I haven't seen you for 2 weeks now, and it's been a glorious time for you.
It has been a glorious time. Thank you.
He's been good for that reason.
Yeah, definitely. And it's got nothing to do with all the other stresses that you've had in life, just not being around me. Is that right?
I don't have too many other stresses. Life's pretty average right now.
That snickering that you can hear in the background is our awesome, lovely guest, Jordy, who's giving me like a face right now that's basically saying, Zach, how much money do you want for this podcast? Because you never praise me.
Well, yeah, exactly. What's half of nothing? Yeah.
I don't think anyone in this room has any money like that to be throwing around.
We couldn't even afford pizza for tonight.
That's true. And the shop's just across the road. That's okay. Welcome to the podcast, dude. Thanks for coming such a long distance. Come and do this with us.
I'd like to say it's worth it, but I don't want to count my chickens.
We'll see.
We'll see.
No, seriously, thank you for having me.
That's okay. I mean, you've been mates with Dan for how long? I mean, are you okay?
Since we're 15. Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, he's doing way worse than I am.
Oh, okay, cool. Can you verify this, Dan?
Oh, no. In terms of
this is the Hang Shit on Dan podcast.
Well, usually it's Zach, and I wanted it to go to air, so I have to change it up a little bit.
That's fair. That's fair. I will be the buffer.
You
for
are
this
the bullshit
evening.
buffer.
Yeah.
But if you
did
fail,
say that
I
in
will
the
jump
pre-intro before, so.
Mm.
But yeah, dude, you've been hanging loose,
Sorry,
doing
I'm,
some.
I'm more meant I've put Dan through way more shit than he's put me through. But
I can attest to that. I've seen a lot of that, especially on stage.
I don't remember my birthdays. Dan does.
The things I've seen.
I can't unsee them.
Can't unsee.
No. But yeah, dude, you've been doing some pretty cool stuff of late, which I haven't had the luxury of seeing that much of, but Dan's been seeing a lot because you've decided to jump out of the music industry and jump headfirst into the comedy industry, and it's been a bit of an interesting time for you so far, I'm guessing.
Yeah, not jump out entirely. I'm still semi-active, but you do something for what started the formations in Avarice when we were like 15.
Yeah,
we're 30 now. Same as any relationship, you might stray. So I needed shouldn't say that before you get married next month. I'm
good.
I still no comment.
Should we get Laura in here to get her side of the story? Or
there's a reason why she's doing like 6 PhDs. Like, I don't want to fucking see him. I love music. I still love music. I still like playing music. I made the jump to try something different. Still sort of active. I've got a new band that has started up and will be getting active in the next few months with Andrew Hudson of Harlot, Connor O'Keefe from Triple Kill, and
Connor, man.
Yeah, and Paul Jones of Toxicon. So we're doing a little thing together, Stoner Metal sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys got a name or
Stag?
Yeah,
we've actually got. We just had some basic bitch demos that I used for the. Basically, walkthrough is probably going to mean something else for your listeners, but like a venue walkthrough of the comedy.
Like a promo video.
Yeah, promo video. That's probably better.
That's kind of like your like wrestling intro.
No, I don't walk out to it, but like we did a little video for the room that I run.
Yeah.
And we needed some music, and I wanted to take some music off the movie Snatch, but Facebook licensing and shit. And I was like, well, hang on, I've got these demos that we knocked up at Paul's place. I was like, fuck it, let's use that. And yeah, so technically there is some music out there, but no one knows who it is yet because we haven't announced anything. So
that's okay. Well,
it's pretty cool.
It's a good name, and you've picked a good crew that we all know pretty well, and
super group.
Exactly.
I don't know why I'm in it then. Super.
Well, I mean, Jordy,
someone needs to be the butt of the jokes,
or the creator of the jokes.
I'll try. Nah, they're a pretty funny bunch, naturally.
Well, I mean, you've got Connor, you've got Hudson, and you've got Paul.
I actually finally did a gig in front of Hudson. He was the one friend I hadn't performed in front of, and I was probably the most nervous of because he's so ruthless with humour. But
yeah, I mean, look, Hudson's a very intimidating man. I'm happy to declare that on this podcast
only if
right
he doesn't
now.
like you, so I feel sorry for you.
That's okay. I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to presume, that's pretty much been the case, and that's fine.
Sounds like a default setting for you, but no.
Default setting. They don't acknowledge
like
me. Must hate me.
But no, comedy's going good so far. About 2.5 years into the career. Yes.
Yeah, because I know you've been going a little bit more full steam ahead in the last 12, 18 months or so? Or
I've probably really full steam ahead in the last 6 to 8. Yeah. Kind of made myself a promise if a gig opportunity came up, I'd do it. And then limited myself because I was pretty burnt out by the end of last year. Because that side note, that's one of the cool things about comedy. You don't have to pack up. You don't have to orchestrate 5 people or 4 people in a band. You don't have to worry about having a rehearsal that week. You can just rock up and do your thing. Like
that sounds magical.
You work for
sign me up.
You don't have to lug fucking Ampeg fridges upstairs and shit. Like you just rock up and do your thing and you're done. You can stay as long or as little as you want. So I burnt myself out pretty good doing gigs every night nearly.
Doing comedy gigs.
6 months straight, yeah. So this year I'm limiting it to paid gigs and then the odd spot here and there to try new material, which is very important.
Well, it's also about sort of building the prestige as well, dude. I mean, I'm sure if you just do every gig constantly every night, then, it's going to be hard for you to sort of come up with fresh material if you're always gigging, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it can be. Oh, well, that's the cool thing about, I guess the same. I can't write a song start to finish. Dan will...
No comment.
Yeah. Dan will fill you in on that one. But no, I can't. I'll come up with a riff here and there, but I've never started and finished a song. So it's like I can write my own lines and all that sort of shit. But with comedy, like something might come from a conversation or, you're stuck in traffic bored shitless. Like a good thing that worked for me was listening to the shittest music I could possibly find on radio and just letting my brain wander while I'm in traffic. Like it just comes from anywhere, but I don't just sit there and dedicate. I probably should, but I don't sit there and dedicate, 2-3 hours a week with pen and paper in front of me, like I have to write something that doesn't feel natural.
It doesn't really suit your style though either, because a lot of your stuff is kind of like a commentary almost, and just off the cuff, sort of like, this happened.
Yeah. Well, that's how it all started. Because, I found myself in these situations in the dating world. And Dan was my go-to, and a guy.
He was your go-to in the dating world?
No, he's way too big for me.
You got a problem, bro? You got an issue?
Well, Mister, I'm getting married.
I don't have a problem at all. I just love to poke shit at Dan.
Yeah, well,
have some material to back it up next time, but that's fine. No, I had 2 people I bounced off basically. Dan was the after hours guy, and a buddy I worked with at Toyota, Kyle. And I'd find myself in this situation. I was like, what the fuck just happened last night? Like a random date or something like that, and just shit would just go weird. And I'd find myself...
We're talking really weird for everyone
weird,
listening to,
weird
stuff that we can't utter on this podcast, I think. But,
no, you're going to have to check me out on Instagram or something to get
for sure.
Full thing.
I'm sure you can give us a little bit of like your more PG kind of material.
No, because then that'll ruin it. So say someone listened to that and then they came sort of thing, they'd know the punchline without the... If they came to a gig...
Oh, okay.
Then...
God damn it.
Dude, you're going to be married soon. You're going to be lucky if you come at all. But
that's true.
Edit that bit out. Fucking hell.
We don't edit this podcast, man.
Oh, good.
I'm
just glad you're not filming. Normally I'm naked for these things. But no, so yeah, it all came from weird dating stories, and I'd find myself in a position just like, what the fuck happened? So I'd bounce an idea, like, not an idea, it wasn't ideas, it all happened, but like I'd bounce this
horrifying
retelling of what I got up to last night or last week or something of Dan, and Dan just spoke, dude, what the fuck? And then same with my buddy Kyle, and then I think it was like a couple of birthdays at the Glenferrie joint you were living in. Found myself telling these stories to a few people at a time sort of thing, and then someone said, oh, that'd be good stand-up material. And I've always loved comedy. I've loved comedy since I was like 13, but never thought about doing it, and then signed up for an open mic, and that was it.
Yeah, and
basically.
I remember going to a couple, and it's sort of like, I knew that like at the start, obviously, you're not sort of not coasting along, but it seemed like you, because obviously spending all that time on stage, in Nabarus for so many years, just getting up there and just rocking the mic solo wasn't that drastic a transition, I guess.
No, it was. No, it was. Yeah. No, scarily so. Yeah. So like,
well, you made it look a lot more effortless than it must have felt then.
I think. Thank you. But I think that's because I got that out of the way my second gig. So first gig I ever did, I got up there and I burnt through what I had to say. I thought I had, a 5-minute open mic spot. Massive shout out to a joint in Glenferrie called Resistance Bar and Cafe Guerrilla Comedy on Wednesday nights. That's where I started. I love that place.
Really good food.
Yeah, really good food.
For anyone
Yeah.
listening, check it out.
There is some
It's
vegan
really
options,
awesome
so
place.
everyone's happy.
I'm pretty sure I remember having one of the vegan burgers there, and it was top notch.
It's amazing. It's a really good joint. But every Wednesday, 7:30 onwards. But I knew I had 5 minutes. 5 minutes doesn't sound like anything, but then when you put it into perspective, it's like you're talking for basically a single's worth of time in terms of music, and how many riffs that is, how many lyrics it is, and all that sort of shit. And then, but you're actually talking. And I got through the 2 things I wanted to talk about, and then I've looked up at the guy who's running it. I was like, how long have I got left? He goes, he's still got 2 minutes. Like, oh shit. And like time is different. Like it's a warp of such. And then the second gig I got up, because that was all adrenaline. Then the second gig I got up, same place, maybe 3 weeks later, got up again, same material plus something else. And I got 30 seconds in and I realized I'm on stage for the first time in 10 odd years. There's no music, there's no lights, there's no smoke machine. I don't have a bass in front of me. I've got no one up here with me. It's just me and my voice. And I actually heard my voice for the first time. I was myself, I was like, fuck, I don't want to listen to that. No one else is going to listen to that. My name's Jordy, have a good night. And I lasted 30 seconds. So I got that out of the way. Still one of the best bombs I've ever had. And then, from there, same as doing anything multiple times, you get a bit more confident with it and find your groove, so to speak. Not giving a fuck really got me a good groove.
I was going to say, doesn't that usually work for you just generally?
Yeah, it does. For better or for worse. Yeah.
Better or worse, yeah. Wait, that's me. No. Never mind.
Oh.
But yeah, I must have seen you at like your 3rd or your 4th gig then when I came and
I
came
haven't
along to
been
that
doing it
part.
long, yeah, when you came down, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, I think you'd already been to a couple, Dan.
Yeah, I went to a whole bunch of the start ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan's been very supportive. This is sounding like a transition video. I know, Dan's been very supportive of me coming out and saying my piece.
Well, I think it's really interesting because, like, before you jumped into comedy, I had no idea there was like a underground, air quotation marks for people that can't see, underground scene for it, just as there is like a music scene. And I never really put 2 and 2 together. And I guess
No, we
that's
didn't
kind of
know
how
anyone,
like some
yeah.
people even think about our music scene, even that they don't even know
Yeah.
That it
there
exists.
are so many good local bands,
Yeah.
doing
Oh, shit, yeah,
the
there is.
circuit. So
Some local bands and some local comics as well. Like some of the local talent, full stop, in this city in Australia put on a better show than the bands you pay, $200 to go see and you can't reach them. Like it's nuts. Go
Yeah.
see a gig.
and again, same as the comics, some of the guys I've seen when I, been to Jordy's nights, are just like the funniest dudes, and they've got some really solid material.
And women.
Yeah,
Just in case
dudes,
anyone gets
people. I
upset.
use dudes
Yeah.
as like men, women, whatever.
Men, women,
Can't be
stick.
too careful.
Whoever,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I actually, that you mentioning that, because I knew about like underground comedy scene
Why don't you tell me?
fucking ages ago. Yeah, but
Why'd you hold out on me, man?
the only
I was
problem
doing
is,
one room for 6 months. I didn't know there was anything else.
the only problem is that I knew about the underground comedy scene and I was starting to go to gigs at the same time that when I first met you guys, way back then, because you remember my
So it should
friend
have been
Avi?
more open then.
You remember my friend Avi?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did comedy.
Oh, right.
But his
right.
thing was, because he was a little bit eccentric, his thing was he would do comedy, really, really tall dude, even like fucking longer and curlier hair than you. I don't understand how, but he did. Red as well.
I am
Massive.
a goddess, thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you're winning in the hair department here, bro. Like, that's a no-brainer.
I said to myself I wouldn't mention your hair once, and you've just done it. So no comment.
Cool. Well, I've ruined it for myself, so you don't have to say anything. Anyway.
Your hair
but
or
yeah.
the subject? I wish there was a camera here. Sorry, continue.
Oh, you're the worst. I love it. Anyway, so he is this really tall dude, really long, curly, red hair, trench coat, dressed like a goth, two giant 4-foot-long tentacle things.
Who wears a trench coat? Sorry. Yeah. Is that why you're friends with him? No. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen him for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he because he used to run Do you remember Manifest?
No.
It's like
yes,
the
it's
anime and manga convention.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, Jordy would
That's
not,
okay.
would not be aware
Anyway,
of
so
such
he ran that for a while, and he also ran one of the only Australian anime and manga magazines. And then when he eventually stopped doing all of that stuff, he bought a bookshop called Of Science and Swords, which was a bookshop for a while. And now he has the same brand, but instead of running the bookshop, he exclusively sells LARP weapons. And but he's one of the biggest LARP distributors in Australia now, and that's what he does.
Does he have a shop front for it as well, or just?
I think he just does it all online and has a warehouse now. Yeah, I don't think he has a shop front anymore.
That's fair.
I haven't seen him. I saw him once at like a gig. Actually, I think I saw him at the Beast Impaler gig.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So who stopped the contact? You or him?
It was just. This isn't an intervention, mate. I don't mind the guy. I just haven't seen him for ages.
Let's talk deeper about your relationships and why.
So, how does that make you feel?
Is there a couch you can lie on and we can just pick your brain?
Anyway, moving on. Suffice to say, he did a lot of stand-up, and he was really good at it. His comedy was super confrontational, and a lot of people couldn't handle it because, he would get up on stage and he looked quite intimidating and he had giant tentacles. And so,
that's an interesting gimmick.
It's an interesting gimmick. It worked obviously very well for him in terms of like the anime world.
I feel like that's a very niche.
Yeah, that's sort of where his thing. I don't know if he still does comedy, but I saw him and he ended up doing, I think he did a skit on when they had comedy at, it was the Hi-Fi at the time, but you remember when they do that 24-hour comedy that they do during the...
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they do it anymore.
Festival, but yeah.
I'm not sure if
they used to do it, and he did a skit on there, I think, for like half an hour or something like that, which is a long time to be doing comedy for, that's for sure.
Half big, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
His was at like 3 a.m., but that doesn't really matter because it's still part of the show. But I got to see him sort of doing that as it all went. And from what I remember, he worked really, 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 really hard. And because, he had a lot of contacts in terms of not comedy, but like the entertainment industry and all that kind of stuff. That was his leg in. But I sort of got that exposure to the underground scene. So I got to see, I guess, a little bit of the kind of stuff. But
still could have told me.
Could have told you. But then, I also didn't know how he'd gotten to where he was and all that kind of stuff. No. So... And you obviously made all the contacts that you've made so far, on the skin of your own teeth and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I didn't know anyone.
Well, now you do. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, but it's the same as anything. Like like the boys in Toxicon, we didn't know any of them, and then we teed up a gig with them, and turns out they were massive fans of ours when we played with them.
And you're massive fans of them as well, and.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were. Then saw them once. I was like, "Holy shit, who are these guys?" And it's just mingling. That's all it is. It's just mingling. You sit around, talk to people.
Yeah, dude. That's pretty much how it works. Pretty much all of the quality friends that I've got are literally people that I've met at gigs.
So not us then.
Well, I met Dan at a music store, so technically that's right.
No, I just more meant if you're hiring someone as a bullshit buffer, they can't be that quality.
Well.
Oh.
Did you say hiring? Am I meant to be getting paid?
This is a team. This is a team.
Where's your gold, Zach? No.
Good. That's not a joke for the podcast, mate.
No, it's actually that's an interesting. It is just mingling. I don't understand the mentality of say a band who gets offered a support slot for a headliner or something, and they rock up, and Dan will attest to this. I used to get shitty. They'll rock up, and then while you're opening your first song, they're packing up and walking out and making a fucking scene about it. I don't understand. You've obviously taken tonight off. You've made the effort to come here. Sit and enjoy the show.
Pretty much.
Everyone likes to crowd. It's the same as comedy. You get people who come up, they'll do their 5 minutes. They might go well, they might bomb, but then they don't watch anything. I think you learn just as much watching someone do what you like as much as doing it yourself.
Well, that's the name of the game across the board for so many aspects of the entertainment industry, dude. Obviously, definitely if you're a band.
Unless it's cam shows or something. I don't know. That might be good.
I can't speak from experience, Jordy, but I don't know what you do behind closed doors and in front of closed doors
actually,
as well.
You're lucky I'm here. I moved into a new joint about a month ago, and I only just got my internet sorted 2 weeks ago.
So you could have been fapping instead of being
here. Could be
at
home making bank.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
I am here at all. Do you know the race between, data on your phone? It's basically dial-up, compared to the race of someone who's on antidepressants trying to get themselves off. Like, no one wins. And then now I've got like NBN, full speed, all that sort of shit. I shouldn't be leaving the house, basically.
Well, I mean, besides for comedy.
Well, yeah, but this is prime time. Like, everyone's eating dinner, so the internet's faster.
That NBN, bro.
Yeah.
That NBN.
I wouldn't know. I just use the internet when I need it and don't use it when I don't.
Before you're married.
It doesn't work like that,
She doesn't
mate.
listen to this, does she?
Yes, she does.
Oh, shit. Sorry, Laura. I really only came here to see Gandalf and he's been locked out and now I'm on a tangent. Sorry.
Anyway, that's okay.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's pretty much the name of the game for everything in the entertainment industry, dude, in terms of the networking. It's not just, I mean, as you say, like the band life, the comedy life. And I mean, I've noticed it as well, obviously, now getting into doing the producing thing. The only thing that counts is my reputation. My skill as a producer and as an engineer and a mixing engineer is all just presumed. I have to be good.
Yeah.
There's not like you can do this okay and be good at that. It's like you have to be good at everything if that's what you're trying to get paid for that kind of work. But the only thing that really counts is your reputation, and that's all that matters. And the same is really
if no one wants to work for you or work with you. Sorry.
Yeah, you're fucked.
You're fucked. That's it.
Yeah. And how are you going to?
You're not going to get the work, no matter how good your work is. If you know.
Yeah. And how are you going to get a job for a band if you go and see them play and then their mates are up next and you're like, oh guys, I'm going to go now, and then you disappear.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, at least stay for like a polite amount of time. Like, I get told when I go to family dues, like, this is mum trying to be a parent when I'm 30, but like, I have to stay for at least an hour and a half. That's cut down to 45 minutes now because she knows I can't deal with it. But it's just like, you've already made the effort to come. Just support. Like, everyone likes a crowd. There's nothing worse than an empty room, be it for comedy, singing, music, arts, whatever.
Anything, yeah.
Anything. Like, playing to the other performers is better than playing to no one. Like, just support each other. That's the thing I don't get.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like, I've seen a lot of different people, obviously, bands and producers more predominantly than comedians, who have, it's kind of split 50-50 between the people who are always there to support, and they'll see anybody and they'll just go and they'll be there for the whole gig and they'll support, and whether or not they actually watch the bands or they're just in the room socializing and being there in front of the band, but still being part of the show, versus the people who rock up, they hang with their mates outside for the whole gig and then they walk in, watch the last band and disappear, or vice versa, the other way around.
Oh, I mean, if you're there to see someone specifically, I get that. Like, I've gone to nights where I've only been interested in one or two bands or something. I understand that mentality. I just don't understand the rock up and fuck off thing.
Like, no, definitely.
I'm here for my half hour or my 5 minutes and then I'm out. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the only really justifiable reason, and there are
plenty of justifiable reasons,
but the only logic that I could see for myself as to why I would rock up for, like a really short period of time and then disappear and then go to something else is if I was going to another event, like,
no,
afterwards.
totally.
But here's the thing, that being said, we don't know that the people that I'm sure we're all thinking of in our minds about, we all have someone going, oh, remember that time when that happened?
Yeah.
How do you know they didn't have that thing? How do you know they didn't have a friend's 30th or 40th, 50th, whatever birthday?
Yeah.
How do you know they don't have, they didn't just work a 70-hour week and they're fucked. They just want to play their show and go home, or they could be sick, or just as a bit of like the other side of it.
I guess it's like,
I totally get it, but like,
but I don't like the mentality of, well, I'm me and I'm going to play my show and then go home and fuck you guys. Like, I disagree with that. But the other thing is that you can't judge them too harshly because there are, everyone's got shit going on. You know what I mean?
Cool.
No,
I mean,
you're
I
right.
like people and I stay for most of the night, so I'm doing my bit. But it's just
it wouldn't be, you can't stay for a whole Colour and Shade gig, man. That's too much, but.
Oh, probably wouldn't even show up. No, I like you guys.
29th of February, Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar.
Yeah.
See
you can
you
rock
there.
up and see Dabberus as well.
Dabberus.
It's probably not going to help marketing, is it? Dabberus. Didn't know you guys turned into 17-year-old virgins dancing about it. But
turned into?
Yeah.
My friend. That's 80% of my demographic.
Sorry, listeners. I'd just like to say for the record, Ralphie doesn't have a van anymore.
I miss my van so much. You have no idea how much.
Probably shouldn't say that after I just mentioned reaching out to 17-year-olds, but that's fine.
The Spruce Moose.
A bit of
Spruce Moose
context.
is
He had a van. It was called the Spruce Moose.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't even my van. It was Jordy's
I gave it to
van.
him.
Jordy was
just
a
let me
legend and
drive
gave
it
him a
everywhere.
van. They put the Spruce Moose on it. Dan
Like
loved
Deckles.
It was
the
it was my grandfather's van, and I only got it because he was moving house.
Well, he was going to take it to the tip.
Yeah, he was going to take it to the tip.
I mean, it probably deserved to go to the tip.
No,
Let's be
no,
real.
No, dude. I regret getting rid of that so much.
Okay, well, I will
now that we're
preface this.
both qualified, we could have fixed it.
I will
for sure.
preface this to say that you guys are both qualified mechanics, and
Well,
I know
now
shit all
we
about,
are.
Well, I'm a
about cars.
practicing mechanic. Yeah, Dan's not. But
Yeah,
They
I mean,
qualified me.
yeah,
Suckers.
Tom helped with that.
yeah. No, my grandfather was moving into a retirement village-esque sort of deal, and the van wouldn't fit in his garage. So this is my dad's.
It was a
side of the
big van.
family.
It was like a
It's
1980
86 Toyota Hiace long wheelbase.
Long
yeah.
wheelbase. It was huge. It was
It was good,
awesome.
though.
I love that thing.
Well,
And,
we slept in it. We remember we went to someone's birthday
Yeah, that's right. And
out in Whoop Whoop, and we ended up just taking sleeping bags and sleeping in the back of the van. And
it was comfy as.
Yeah, it was-
I mean, that tour life,
Cheers
dude.
for the
It beats a fucking trailer triangle, right?
trailer track.
trailer track pit.
It's another podcast.
It's another
It's,
podcast. I'll show it to you later.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
in jokes work on podcasts, yeah.
Oh, totally.
No, so my grandfather was getting rid of it, and dad's side of the family is quite estranged, to say the least. And all like my aunties and uncles were going through the house with post-it notes, putting post-it notes on stuff that they wanted.
Yeah.
Dad flew out from Tassie. I don't know why, because he doesn't talk to him, but he goes, "Oh, what's happening with the van?" And my grandfather's like, I'm taking it to the tip. And Dad goes, "Well, Jordy's in a band. He could probably use it." You know, "Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, you can have it." So Dad rescues this van for me. And I only got it because I helped put shells in it when I was about 8. And Dad's like, "You could work with him and I couldn't, so you get the van." I was like, "All right, fair enough. We could."
Logic dictates that, right?
Yeah, she died. But yeah, it was a good van.
Nice.
Well, it was pretty good for like city stuff. I remember being when I was in Orpheus, or maybe, I think I was just filling in at this point, and we had a show in Bendigo, I think.
Yeah.
And we were, trying to suss out how we were going to get to the gig. And I was like, "Oh, well, I've got this big ass van. We'll all just jump in the van. We'll chuck the cabs in there and everything." Yeah. And I'll never forget this, being on the freeway and coming up to a hill, and there's like me and 7 other dudes and all this gear. We went from going like 100 k's an hour down to 30, foot down to the floor, like just revs high as shit. Like
Steam
we were joking,
coming out the back.
Matty could have just jumped out of the side of the van and probably run faster than what we were driving. And we were very grateful to have made it to Bendigo on time.
It was a bit gutless. Yeah.
Did that thing survive long enough for you to use it when you were in Renegade? Was it dead before then?
Nah, I was driving my wanky cars by then.
Oh, you wanky cars.
Wanky
Your
cars.
super car.
Yeah.
But man,
yeah.
I mean, that van actually has a
Have you
whole...
fixed your fuel pump yet? You got a new one in it? No.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a pump in there, but it's not. It's not the right pump.
No mechanic jokes, boys.
Oh no, that wasn't a joke. No, it was genuine curiosity.
That's okay. I mean, if you're talking about fuel pumps and Dan's ability to repair them, just ask him about how he went with my Elantra.
Well, they're a piece of shit from factory. No one should be working on them.
No, it was more that he was trying to get the fuel pump fixed when I used to live at in Chapel, and then I eventually had to get Tim's dad to fix it.
Because there was an electrical issue, wasn't there?
It was the fuel pump.
And there was something else going on as well.
Well, he ended up just replacing the fuel pump, and it was fine because you kept trying to replace it, but the parts didn't work.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, no, that was a different issue.
I feel like you're being a bit accusatory, whatever the fuck that word is.
Well, let's just say it was the first 6 months of my first year of my apprenticeship, so I had no fucking idea what I was doing.
Well, that was the thing.
I drove up to his house. I was trying to help a friend, and now he throws me under the bus on a podcast.
Now I'm gonna return the favor and stamp your ticket, Isaac, because when you said to me, "I need a car," you gave me your budget.
Yeah.
I went car hunting for you.
Yeah.
Elantra was not on that list, so that's on you.
Well, you know who picked out the car?
Who?
Dan.
I didn't pick out the
Whoa, hang
fucking
on.
car.
You did pick it out.
Oh my! We're just going to change the subject before this podcast gets quite heated and I punch Zach in the face.
Can I watch?
Sure.
In your defense, the
Might work
cars
for your
run.
cam
The cars
show.
run really well. The cars run really well since I got the fuel pump replaced, and
There you
Dan
go.
serviced it a lot, and it's actually been pretty good.
It's
So
shit cars. Anyway, it's still not on the list that I told you to get. Anyway,
that's okay. Suffice to say, I've been quite happy with the car for the majority of its life until it dies. At which point, I can't blame Dan because at the end of the day, he didn't build it.
Thank God.
yeah. That should be on the vote.
I can see the daggers in your eyes right now.
Stop fighting.
He stopped being a mechanic because because of
Yeah,
these
dealing with
reasons.
people like you, yeah.
I know. Terrible customer, right?
box. It worked fine yesterday. Then you bought it to me.
So
now
what do
the
I do?
wipers don't
Fix
work.
guitars. I bought this shitbox guitar and it doesn't work.
Did you
There's
say
no
it was? Did you
escape.
say
Hey,
it was
don't
a
go through my
Gibson, mate?
messages.
That's
It's
quality,
Gibson.
right?
Mate, quality as.
Anyway, I started a podcast instead, right? That's working out for you.
Instead, mate, this is supplementary. All right, this is
a filler. Yeah.
That's okay.
Um,
Anyway,
there's nothing better to do with my Friday nights than sit in a room with Zach.
talk to Jordy.
Oh, that
record
part's
it.
fine.
Easy.
That part's fine.
So obviously you've been doing a shitload of comedy, and you were showing us some flyers earlier. You've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up very soon,
Yes.
dude. Give us a spiel.
Spielen. I run a room on Chapel Street, called Death or Glory Comedy. Very confusing for some people. The name of the venue is Death or Glory. I just do comedy there.
Okay, so there's no
There's no secret entrance or anything like that.
There's no secret entrance. There's no cage fights and all that kind of stuff.
Depends on the lineup, but if you know where Revolver is,
I mean, yes,
we're
everyone
like
knows
across the
where.
road from it, near enough. But
Revs.
people go to die. But
True.
I run that on Tuesdays. Start 7:30 every Tuesday. Different lineup every week with a headliner.
Nice.
And been running that for about 8 or 9 months. Started just after Comedy Fest last year, and my good buddy Gary suggested, why don't we put something on for Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Long story short, basically we applied for registration, got told we were too far out of the city. So I thought, fuck it, we'll do our own festival. So instead of just doing Tuesday night, we're doing 5 nights a week, Sunday to Thursday, for 5 weeks.
That's a lot, dude.
For 5 weeks.
Right.
5 acts a night, $20 to get in.
And you're doing your full-time work around this as well.
Yeah, until further notice. Yeah.
Like the award you accepted earlier?
Yeah, fuck yeah, the award. I'll get into that later. But yeah, so that's very exciting. So it's not part of Melbourne International Comedy Festival, but it's not against it either. It's basically aimed at the people who enjoy comics who are sort of the non-PC genre.
That's fine.
Or people who don't want to have to go into the CBD.
Exactly, like myself.
I mean, the thing is, you're celebrating comedy in Melbourne anyway, so it's still the essence of the comedy festival. It's just not an official event. Doesn't mean that it's not really part of like trying to embrace the whole it's comedy time in Melbourne and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we start about a week and a half before the official date of Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that'll, appease some people and, get their fix, and then they can go do whatever they want to do. But we're basically running from 6:30 till 9 o'clock, 5 nights a week. So there's something for everyone.
Yeah, that's sick. And I mean, it's your prime time as well. I mean, if you've got comedy, people generally, I'm guessing they don't really want to do comedy past like 10.
No. I mean, if it's in the city during Comedy Fest time, that's a different story because people are on it if it's on a Friday or a Saturday. But,
that's a different kind of ball game though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But it's cheaper than a movie. It goes longer than a movie, but you can come and go as you please. And the best part is there's no popcorn, so you'll actually enjoy yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, like there's a bar. There's probably
yeah, we got a bar upstairs. Full professional room. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bar. There's probably a kitchen as well, I'm guessing, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we got food. Yeah, very selfishly, I don't want food up there because I can't stand listening to people eat. and I'd like to enjoy myself in my own festival.
But you can eat downstairs.
Yeah, you can eat downstairs.
And the menu is quite good.
The
I've
menu's
had
incredible.
one of the burgers from there, and it was
Parmesan is
awesome.
incredible.
Nice. So what you're trying to say is somebody starts to get settled there. Some food comes out. You come off stage, emceeing. You walk over to them and you be like, downstairs.
No.
I'm joking.
Tuesday.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I can't tell with you. You're very deadpan. But no, it's just like, no, do what you want. I just don't eat a packet of chips during, because like it's very, it's not like music where someone can get away with chewing gum like a fucking animal and, eating chips and burgers and shit while there's
someone
music
can come with
on.
a full 3-course meal and set up a little table as well. They watch you play with the
because
band,
music,
and you won't be able to hear because you've got so much loud bass coming through.
It's like
fallback at you and stuff.
depending on the gig, but like an ingle beats someone eating. So but like it's a little nerdy joke for you music people. I know what an ingle is. I said Marshall. I was going to say Marshall, but
Accurate.
Yeah,
no,
accurate.
I like Marshall stuff too. But okay.
You've changed. But
What happened, man? Used to be cool. Used to be at the fridges.
well, I'm going to call you on bullshit. But yeah,
Shit.
no, that was actually you.
It's a I thought you say it's a both of it. So
That would be a double kill if we were playing a game here. But
multi-kill.
yeah, yeah. So no, full restaurant, full bar, full everything. Really good food. Got some very quality acts. That's not proper English. We got very good acts coming in. Even got some internationals. So yeah, it'd be good. But I'm also started a podcast last weekend with my mate Benny. It's called BJ Balls Out Podcast.
BJ Balls Out Podcast.
Yeah. So
it's for the family variety hour.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
yeah, the Catholics. No, it's
Well.
we kind of talk about anything and everything. So if you like to see an uncensored version of myself, you can look that up on socials.
SoundCloud. It is on at the
SoundCloud.
moment.
It is on SoundCloud. Thank you.
You got it on Spotify and iTunes as well?
Not iTunes because that costs money, but we're just doing SoundCloud for now.
Spoken like a true musician.
Yeah, right.
Costs money.
I'm trying to take everything I learned. And I'm in the middle of organising a radio show idea with 2 comics.
Nice.
But we're going to start it as a podcast and then present that kind of like how you would a demo or something like that, trying to get on a record label.
But you want to get on a radio station?
Yeah, I'm sick of manual labour. I'm 30, but I feel like I'm 60. I need out.
I mean, look, the podcasting world is it's an interesting beast to get into, and you could sort of argue that in many ways, depending on what you do with podcasting, it is basically radio as well.
Well, yeah, you just don't have. I mean, you could have sponsors eventually, but
or you could be like Andy and I when on my other podcast where we just make a sponsor up because we don't have one.
Well, that's what we were going to do. Yeah, so we were going to do like fake ads, fake news, fake weather, fake traffic reports, like all sorts of shit. So we're going to present it like a radio show, not say it's a podcast.
Yeah,
actually recording it at Hydra.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Hydra Studios in Burwood, brilliant place.
Actually, we're trying to get Pete on in the next couple of episodes.
Pete's a wealth of knowledge of just all sorts of shit. I love Pete.
He's lovely.
Incredible.
Yeah.
One of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet, but you don't know where a conversation is going to go with him. So yeah, get him in. I would love to hear that. But
I'm looking forward to it. I would love for us to down the line as well have an episode where we have Pete and Steve Canatelli as well. I feel like that would just be...
I feel like we wouldn't even need to be in the room. Just give Steve a mic, give Pete a mic, and just bam,
we can
hit
just
record
shout.
and
We
walk
can just
out.
shout from the kitchen while we're drinking, whatever.
Yep.
You tea, me
Herbal
rum.
tea.
Well, Dan tea, me rum, because like if I give him too much rum, he'll literally disintegrate.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
that's yeah.
I
Thanks, man.
thought you stopped drinking for some reason.
Me?
Yeah.
Only when I have time.
You
You
stop drinking
only when you have time?
No, I start drinking only when I have
Oh,
time.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Which is
Fair enough.
not very often, honestly, which is why you probably think I don't drink. Because most of the time I'm driving to
I haven't
places.
seen you in ages, I'll be honest.
Has it been a good time for you?
It has been a nice break. I wasn't going to say it, but it has been.
Has it been a busy day?
It kind of feels like a high school relationship. I just need a break when you actually want to break up with someone. No, we just haven't crossed paths, really.
That's all right. I mean, I haven't been out to as many gigs as like that you would normally go to as I would like. because I haven't had a chance to go and see as many metal gigs, and other than that, I've just been working.
And to be fair, I do keep a distance from you when I see you at things from this little run-in we had once. Well, we've had several run-ins, actually. New Year's at your place, but the one I'm thinking of was at your Glenferrie joint. I think it was for your birthday or something.
Yeah.
You were telling me about your mate who was opening a burger restaurant. I said, why is he opening a burger restaurant? Burger and pizza. I was like, there's got to be enough. It's like cider companies.
I don't even remember who that was.
Yeah.
We don't. Well, that's how quickly you burn through friends, so I'm not surprised. But
Wow.
it was just more like,
That's rough, bro.
we were talking.
I told you to behave before you came on this
I am.
podcast.
No, I
This
am.
is Jordy behaving people, by the way.
No, this is a vicious triangle. You're having a crack at Dan. I'm trying to even the playing field a little bit.
I'm not having a crack at Dan. This is just
No,
regular.
you're not now. You were a few minutes ago. I don't forget. But no,
No forgetting.
you were talking about someone opening a food establishment. I was like, dude, do something different. There's enough pizza joints. Like no one's crying for more pizza joints. And then I told you I had to go to the bathroom, but you kept talking, and then you realized I was away from you, and then you followed me, and then I went into this. Is sounding
How
like
much I had to drink at
this
that
is
time?
sounding,
You know
enough to
what?
better.
I do remember this.
This is sounding like a
Yeah.
Me Too story. So like you're following me, and then I've gone into the bathroom, and I've turned around, and you're just standing like right fucking there. Like, Zach, I'm trying to take a piss.
I don't even remember this.
I pushed you out of a bathroom. I physically pushed you out of a bathroom.
This must have been in that period of time where things
You were
were not
unbearable,
where things were not great.
For any of us, I'm pretty sure that was a
Yeah.
very
That was in that-
alcohol-fueled time
Yeah, which
in
is
our
which
lives.
Is, yeah,
in that
which is-
current house, in party house. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's yeah.
But ever
a
since
period
then,
of
I've
time
been
that
wary.
didn't go.
I've just been wary. I'm scared to use the bathroom here, and I really need to go. I'm just on edge.
I can't really tell if you're being serious or
Oh,
not.
dead serious. Yeah. We won't talk about New Year's that one time. That's fine.
I don't even.
I do remember that one.
that one. I remember that. You were rough.
That
man.
was the closest thing to a smackdown I've ever been to. That was fun as. No, you were pushing people in bushes.
No, that's
You
not
just-
what happened.
That's
at
not
all.
what happened.
You pushed him into a bush.
Oh, because he stole Hudson's phone.
No,
No.
that's not what happened at
Oh,
all.
God, what did
Man,
happen?
you got it backwards.
I think you were all just taking the piss out
I
of me.
think you were just
honestly.
taking the piss out of Zach. Zach had a bit too much to drink, and you were just taking the piss out of him.
I
I
remember.
stole his phone I can't even remember why. This was years ago. I stole his phone.
How do you remember this
he
stuff,
was
man?
looking
This was like
for-
7 years
Clearly,
ago.
I don't.
7, 8 years
Okay,
ago.
no,
You went into the bushes and went, Zach, I found your phone over here. Zach went, oh, cool, walked over. And then you just went like, lol, no, it's not here. And so
I've never
he
said
gave you a
lol.
little
Yeah.
push, and then you just grabbed him and just like slammed him down to the ground. And then that was the
No,
end of
that
it.
was
And
the
then
other way
Zach
around.
passed out and we drew a penis on his face.
Yeah, that was a
was-
clincher.
Jacob was there too. That was
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Oh, yeah, we stole your car and got Hungry Jacks at like 4 a.m. Yeah, I remember that. That's-
Yeah, I
This
don't-
is quality podcast
I don't
content
think
right
he-
now.
It's
So this-
like, we
that's the
interview
first time he's
you.
probably heard that. I've never
I-
told him that. We took his car for a spin.
Sometimes the best Hungry Jack tastes when it's illegal. It was great. Yeah, you fell asleep. I drew a penis. Shep drew a penis on your head.
And well,
I
that was
pushed him.
why it was very greatly formed.
Well, yeah, because he's a sign writer. Yeah, made more. I can't even read my own handwriting, so I got Shep.
Let
to do it
alone
as
my
a
own
sign
dick
writer.
pictures.
Is it getting hot in here, or am I just getting furious?
Well, he didn't put the candles on, thank fuck. But
I know
no,
you wanted them, but just kept the
was
low
an-
lighting for you.
That was an interesting night. Yeah, that was fun.
Trust you to bring up stuff that I had completely forgotten about.
Well, no, I remember you saying, "Oh, I'm going to hook up with her tonight," and then like a half hour later, you're like, "No, I'm going to hook up with her tonight." And I remember saying to you, "I'm not a betting man, but I think you're going to go home empty-handed." And then like we end up having a fight in a bush. It was great.
Just to be clear, this was years and years
Oh, this is
ago.
years
this
ago.
was like
Yeah.
literally what, like 7, 8 years ago or some shit like that?
Closer to 10, probably. Yeah, you
Something
were-
like that.
like 2011 or 2012.
Henry Street. in-
No.
No.
it was
This
when I
was
was at
at
my
his
parents' place.
place,
in
wasn't
Surrey
it?
Hills.
Oh,
All I
Henry
remember
Street's
is that
Glenferrie.
Dan wanted something and he didn't end up getting it that evening, and he was very sad about
Yeah,
it.
it was you to leave.
No, it wasn't to do with me.
No, this is getting nasty. All right, let's talk about
Anyway.
Let's talk about creative stuff. Yeah.
So, Question is like when you go to when we finish this podcast, Dan's like,
I wish we edited this podcast so badly. I have no idea.
Dan's gonna listen back after you've gone, and I'll be like, hey Dan, what can we keep? And Dan's like, well, we can keep this part at the start where we say hello, and that's all. We might have to do a special rating just for your podcast.
Oh, that'd be all right. I'd feel special. Different so to normal, but yeah, I'd be up for that.
Anyway,
yeah, you could do this one as like a sealed section in one of those dirty mags. Yeah, do that. I like that. I like that idea.
You're the worst, dude.
What did you expect when you got me? Anyway,
this is all my fault. I've brought this on myself. Yeah.
It's all right. I mean, you're the one who befriended him fucking 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That nostalgia, eh?
No, that's been a good relationship. It's fun as. What do you? Okay, something I'm going to bring up. We've only done one podcast in the BJ thing, but it was just a pilot just to see how it would go and let people know we're here, kind of thing. One thing I'm curious to ask comics is what something you think is good and what something you think is bad in the industry. And
that old chestnut, yeah.
Yeah, no, just as a curiosity perspective, like, for example, I don't understand Michael McIntyre. I don't find him funny at all, yet people love him. He sells out arenas and all that sort of shit.
I like him.
He's basically like the Coldplay of comics, but it's just like, I don't get it. But then someone like Bill Burr, who I fucking love, is like your heavy hitter sort of thing, would be in the music, but yet some people don't like that. What's something in music you guys don't understand?
So you're throwing it back and asking us questions.
Just curious.
I love this.
just curious, because I love talking music. I love talking comedy.
Well, it's interesting because in the past, I would have been able to give you a quite definite answer on what I do and I don't love.
Yeah.
But over especially the last 12 months of getting really, really heavy into the producing game for a lot of different stuff, I'm actually at the point now in my music career where, I'll be frank, there's very little in the music industry that I like, music industry in terms of styles of music that I don't like.
Is that because they pay?
No, because I'm decided to actually like really listen to a lot of different things, and I'm really enjoying it. I mean, lately it's been weird. I've been going from doing like really, really super extreme, like slammed, super drop tuned, like hardcore / metal stuff, all the way to pop. And like really, really like recent style trap stuff as well.
Okay.
And like I've just finished I've started like talking to a client about changing up from what they were going to do now to doing like this folk pop record, which is going to be really cool. I've just finished doing an EP for my own band that's gone from being like far more metalcore to now being like basically like stadium rock hardcore stuff.
Okay.
Which is quite different. Yeah. Sprinkled with like a little bit of some more random kind of stuff in there. There's like a track that's basically kind of like a film score kind of track. And there's a like really, really, really super pop rock kind of song in there as well. And yeah, there's a lot of different things that I've been doing. So for me, the thing that I like, the only thing that I think I don't like about music so far that's going on is the fact that there are a lot of productions across the board, not necessarily specifically in one style, but across the board that are basically getting through that are very same in terms of a lot of the sonic palettes that people use. So like I'm talking about especially
like too polished kind of thing, or?
Not too polished.
More that they're all going for the exact same sound.
The exact same
my
sound.
answer was going to be the one thing I probably don't like, apart from mumble rap.
Which I've started producing as well. Which is an interesting thing.
And again, if that's what people want to listen to, that's fine. I'm not saying it's trash or anything. It's just I just don't get it.
No, it's shit.
And I listen to different, lots of different styles. And
I'm going to be the impartial here,
electronic music and stuff.
It's shit.
If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah, it's just like your opinion, man.
But yeah, the whole
like no, it's shit. It's shit.
I'm going to agree to disagree with you on that, but that's okay. Anyway,
very diplomatic.
I like it, man. So what can you say?
Yeah, fair enough.
That's just the thing.
Yeah,
but
that samey thing, I totally agree. I don't like that
there's
samey.
so much. It's not specifically to like, you know, one style of music. I mean, our experience is a lot to do with the heavy music industry and a lot of people in that industry who do the same thing. I mean, it's really, really common, especially probably the most obvious thing is drums. There are so many people that use a lot of the same drum samples, the same way of processing their drums, making everything overhyped, and really, really heavily sample replaced, or just not recording drums at all and just programming the whole thing. It's pretty common.
It's cheaper though, yeah.
Well,
who would do such a thing?
It's cheaper to a point. Like it is cheaper.
Not us, man. Not Nabarus, that's for sure.
Yeah,
all real drums in every single track.
2 of us had jobs.
No, it's an interesting thing because it is cheaper to do programmed drums, but it's not very hard to be able to get drums that are recorded really well done at not that much more than what it would cost if you were to get somebody to program your drums and make them all sound really good. You just need to do a little bit of research. But unfortunately, the problem is a lot of people, just presume, oh, well, programmed drums is going to be good enough. It sounds as good. It sounds good like everyone else. That's the problem. Automatically, you've just literally said it sounds like everybody else in that sentence. And the other thing as well is, you know, at the end of the day, everyone in the world, unfortunately, not everyone, but the majority of people are sort of getting more used to just wanting the answer right now, as opposed to like doing a little bit of like a lot of digging to try and find that person who can actually record drums for them at a far more affordable price, as opposed to just doing a little bit of searching and going, oh, well, they're really expensive. Let's just get the drums programmed.
Yeah, it's that race of I need to get something out right now kind of thing. Like, we've got this material, we need to record it. Okay, it's going to be quicker to program it because we need that album out.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think the thing is,
I think it does just come down to cost, though, a lot in the end.
It does come down to cost for sure, and it's very necessary to have a lot of constant music coming out, no matter what genre you are. I mean, you know, like with the alternative and heavy music scene, you don't need to release as much music. Say, for instance, if you were in the world of rap or even in the world of EDM, like, you know, in the world of heavy music, if you release 5 tracks every year, you know, maybe 5 or 6 tracks every year, you know, 1 EP and a single, then you're good. Like, just constantly good. You know, that's fine. And and so some people, as a heavy band, that's actually too hard. That's too much music for them to have to be able to release.
A shitload of music, money, though.
It kind of doesn't. It
depends. If you're doing
it
like that, and it's the style that a lot of people, or maybe not style, approach that a lot of people are taking now, is that, and not everybody, because some people are still sort of still prefer releasing albums every 2 or 4 years, whatever your cycle is. It's
it is a milestone.
More people are going with that, releasing EPs, and look, that's something we're looking at the moment. You know, to be honest, it's releasing EPs, and instead of having not that there are tracks in the album that would be bad, but instead of having a whole album and just going bang, here it is, you just release it one at a time with a video, single on a video, and then just drop it all as like an EP, or release an EP and then just release the singles off that, and put more of your money and effort into marketing those singles,
and you're going to get
trying to push a whole album.
as much traction, or nearly as much traction as you would get an album, but you've released half the tracks.
Yeah,
and
but it also depends on your style, because like that's not going to work. If you're doing like a 80s power metal thing, or like, you know, Iron Maiden sort of thing, then your fan base probably aren't going to dig that approach. They're going to want a 10 to 12 track album
it's down to each different genre. Like, depending upon what you're doing, I mean, like, being realistic, obviously 80s power metal isn't the most popular genre in the world right now. It's very, very big in certain scenes.
Certain scenes in certain countries and things, the same as
exactly,
you know, everything.
But like, you know, flavor of the year kind of heavy music, and the sort of like 5 or 6 different things going on in that right now. If you were to go out and release an EP every 10 months, in any of those particular biggest scenes of current heavy music, it'd be serving you really well doing something like that.
Sure.
But like it's far more extreme when you get to like more popular music, and I'm not talking about just pop, but just more popular music in general. I mean, if you're going to like the rap world or the trap world, it's a song a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're going to EDM as well, it's anywhere from 2 to 3 songs a month.
Yeah.
Like, but the thing is, they'll do one song and then they'll do 4 remixes of the same song. No.
I thought it would have been easier to release EDM music because like people would get blitzed while they're listening to it and forget it.
Yeah, but the thing is, the problem.
That makes it harder.
That's why it's harder.
Then you need people to remember it, number one. Number two, I think in a band, you've got, most of the time, multiple people. So you've got those multiple people's network of people being promoted to in terms of getting the music out there, whereas not everyone, but as far as I'm aware, most EDM producers or artists would be single people, maybe 2 people.
Usually
max.
it's single, sometimes it's a duo, depending upon whether or not the artist is a vocalist or if they get guest vocalists. Like a lot of, like you look at one of the, I mean, he's definitely not really EDM. He's more just generalized electronic music. And I am not educated enough in the style to be able to pinpoint the particular style that he's in. I'm talking about Flume.
So like
he's like a, what? he's a great example of an artist.
See the music.
He's a great example of an artist who, I mean, I'm not aware of his creative process, but it's always him featuring somebody.
Yeah.
And that person is usually the person who's singing on the track. And then he's creating all of the music. He may actually write the vocal melodies and lyrics and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. And that's fine, either way. But it's him as the artist.
Yeah.
And, he releases a lot of music. And he's, a very large artist, and he still releases a lot of music. Another great example is the producer and DJ who's been doing it now in a sort of a very popular stage now. I think it's about 3 or 4 years, is Marshmellow.
Okay.
And he's got...
Who? I'm not familiar with that one.
So he's got a significant amount of really, really popular tracks going right now. And I mean, he's had... quite a lot of, really, really big charting Billboard songs, but like he went so far as to do a song featuring a Day to Remember.
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. I do know that one.
Yeah. Yep. And like you look at him and he never sings on his tracks. Well, to be fair, no one actually knows who he is, so maybe he does sing on the tracks, but you don't know. But that's the thing, like you look at him, he's got so many different tracks out with so many different big name artists guesting on it. Can you imagine the kind of team he's got behind marketing? So the thing is like you look at those kind of artists, and they may be one person who is the actual artist, but guaranteed in terms of the team behind them that's pushing them as a brand, it's probably larger than a band's team. And some bands actually have quite a large team because it's all about branding. It's all about marketing in that kind of world. And it's all that stuff's coming new to me, obviously, now that I've started producing those kind of things and started to find different people for different things for artists and all of that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of fun, honestly, because it's all new and fresh and interesting. But it's so surprising to me doing that kind of stuff, just realizing how much of what I've been doing in terms of writing and producing in heavy music is so totally translatable to all of that stuff. But the biggest thing is that because they do it all, but most of the time it's like the only thing they're actually physically recording is vocals and everything else is in the box.
Yep.
Then when you take the ability to be able to record everything else acoustically and translate that into, pop or trap or electronic music or whatever you're choosing to do, you suddenly realize you have this skill set that a lot of the people in that world don't actually have. So it gives you a massive advantage if you're open to doing that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But as important as marketing is, like you still need that thing that people want to hear. Like you could be are you producing the next Sandstorm or something? Like you need the next big thing.
Well, that's the thing, dude.
Like content is just as important as marketing. Like, as if you.
Well, I mean, content is marketing half the time.
Some of the ads I see on Facebook, like there was some fucking ad that came up the other day.
Yeah.
And it was these little dweeby little fuckers just being like, I wear my jumpers, blah, 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 this sort of shit. It looked like a Kmart ad. Like, it was ridiculous.
You're talking about a song
some pop
or?
shit, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
there's a market for that. Just, I mean, you know, we're all like 30-ish, early to mid 30s. I mean, there'll be 12-year-old kids that listen to pop that would eat that shit.
Most of the people that I have coming in that are recording this kind of stuff, dude, they're 16, 17, 18, 19. They're all really, really young guys coming in and recording, you know, pop, trap, hip hop kind of stuff.
So you working with children's license.
Far out, you're the worst. Anyway, suffice to say, dude, there's a lot of like. You have to really be open-minded thinking about all this kind of stuff. And, like, I don't know whether or not I'm recording, you know, the next big thing or if I'm just recording somebody who's going to have a really sick career for 3 to 4 years, you know? Like, it's the same thing when you're working in the heavy music industry or just the, you know, the band music industry in general. You just try and help them make the best version of the song that they've got or the record that they've got. And that's all I'm interested in. If someone comes in and they come in and they go, hey, man, I've got this track. And I listen to it and they're like, oh, these are my vocals. And I listen to the vocals and it's not good. I'm not going to just be like, oh, cool, well, it's not good, but like, that's okay, no problem. I'm still going to take your money and we're just going to do this anyway because we want to get paid. I'm going to be like, okay, man, like, what do you like and what don't you like about this track?
You should get like a Dragon's Den thing going on. Like, you get like 3 people and it's like, no, why are you doing that?
Well, no, I just tell them myself.
Like, like Dragon's Den, you know, like people come in with an idea.
Oh, I know what you mean, but I just tell them myself. I don't need to get 2 other people to be able to tell them that it's not a good
job.
idea. Yeah, like I'll be like, hey man, I don't think that this particular line here is particularly good, or I feel like this beat needs a significant amount of work and yada yada yada. I mean, that's what they're paying me for, and like they could take or leave the advice, but it usually ends up being that if the song really needs work, then they go away and work on it and then come back again. Or if they want, like sometimes they just completely scrap the song and we write something new, fresh in the studio. Cool. Well, that's just what you got to do. I mean, it's much rarer that happens with bands. One, because there's usually minimum of 4 people there who have an opinion on it, and usually. It gets worse. I mean, you could have 7-piece bands recording.
No.
Well, I have, so I have to deal with it. But anyway.
No, that sounds like a nightmare.
That was good.
Should we talk about something else before I lose you more followers or something, or potential work?
I'm not really stressed. I mean, I'm quite happy for people to hear that I'm an open and transparent producer.
No. I know you are, but just by association. I'm worried.
Wow.
Because no. I mean, associated having me being like, oh, this sounds shit, that sounds shit. But
yeah, but Jordy, you're you, man. Like, I'm not going to judge you. It's fine. If you don't like certain styles of music, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means you have an opinion.
There's enough gang vocals. I'm just going to say it. Gang vocals have been done. That trend needs to stop. Every time I hear a gang vocal,
is this what this whole question thing was leading to? So you could be like, you know what? I fucking hate gang vocals.
No,
and
you don't like 4 Year Strong. Let's be real.
What the fuck is that?
No,
is that
doesn't.
a relationship? Is that a band?
You know Jordy well enough.
Is that a book?
You don't even need to ask that question. I
don't understand band names. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to say it. Like, you want to make this your sealed section.
So what you're trying to say is we need to release this second episode. If we do second episode for you, Jordy, old man talks into microphone.
Dude, you're older than me. No,
yeah, Jordy, uncensored.
Older
Premium
at heart,
Snapchat.
Bro. You're older at heart. Okay,
I am. No,
what do you think about the kids and their skateboards on the street, Jordy?
I like seeing kids on skateboards because I think it might be free entertainment. Not in a pedo-y way, but just like I get upset when I see someone skateboarding. They've got the
You went there. You really had to go there.
They've got their headphones in. They're texting while they're skateboarding down Chapel Street or something. I get disappointed when they don't stack.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Your love for cyclists comedian, as well. And so your job is to
it's the only reason why I watch Tour de France. I don't get it. I find that entertaining more than anything. Like, I'm on a fucking skateboard. I look cool. Like, bam. It's brilliant.
So,
hang on. I saw a cyclist crash into a cyclist yesterday.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was incredible because I just imagined the conversation like, do you have insurance? No. Do you have insurance? No.
Actually, they probably do.
I doubt it.
There's cycling insurance.
I doubt it.
No, there is.
Is there?
Yes.
Doesn't mean they do it.
Most people
I don't
who
get
have
cyclists.
expensive
I don't
bikes
get
do.
cyclists.
Do they?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Those bikes
Good
are worth
on
like
them.
$3,000. It's expensive.
Yet they can't pay Rego. Oh, interesting.
Well, they don't have to.
They should.
Oh.
All right. Get off your high horse, man.
Oh, no, I'm not on a high horse. I'm a
low
using,
horse.
paying.
A used horse.
My horse is fucked, mate. My back is wrecked. I don't get cyclists.
I mean, look, I should have. I should
gang
have.
vocals. Seriously, like
I
gang
should have
vocals.
known this was going to happen. You walked in with a shirt that says "cult leader" on it. Like, what was I expecting?
I can't say what I was going to say. No, but like seriously, gang vocals need to stop. Not stop, just a whole song can't be based around it. Because every time I hear gang vocals now, it's like there's a rewire in my brain, right? You know, what's that thing called where it's like triggered memory or something like that? My brain replaces what I'm hearing on radio. And this goes for pop, metal, rap, whatever. As soon as I hear a gang vocal, like more than 3 people singing the same thing, my brain rewires it to Chumbawamba tub thumping. That's what your fucking gang vocals sound like.
So basically, 10-15 minutes of you
get
rambling
knocked
has
down,
just been
but I get
wanting
up
to
again.
get to this punchline. You just wanted to get a punchline.
No. I was genuinely curious what you didn't like, and like that Dance Monkey girl, like that's just utter shit, utter crap. Dresses like Ali G, but sounds like Sting on a bad day.
Okay.
Like that's it's horrible. It's horrible. Like,
Well, you know what? It's okay, Jordy. I mean, you know, you are.
I like music, not this shit that's coming out lately. Anyone can tell. Like you've seen my iPod, I think, on a road trip once. Like I have a big
iPod.
It's not as
because it's old, right?
it's not as sorted as my RedTube history, but it's just like I listen to a lot of different shit. That makes me feel like I'm qualified to say no. That sucks.
Yeah. I believe you, Jordy. It's just funny because,
dude,
so many people love this music, man. So obviously it's doing well, and it's got it. It's
no, it's not. A friend of mine saw Tones and I, whatever her name was, in Frankston when he was no, hang on, no, this is a true story. Mechanic at my work, funnily enough, called Isaac, or Ballsack as I call him. But anyway, he was playing golf, not golf.
He was playing Gold 10, whatever.
No, he was playing. If that gets on gold, I'm just going to neck myself. That's ridiculous. That's one station. It's sacred. He was going bowling with his mates, and that Tones and I chick was there. He was like, "Oh, holy shit, that's Tones and I," and she was shelling out silvers to buy a hot dog. It's like you can't be going that well.
No, she's a musician, man. Just because she's got a popular,
she just bought a house.
Just because she's
how can
popular,
you buy a house and not a fucking hot dog?
Exactly. She just bought a house.
She doesn't have any money.
That's why she's got no money.
Prioritize rent. I don't know.
Well, what if she wanted to own property? I'd rather own property than rent if I could.
Yeah, I'd buy a house over a hot dog any day.
Yeah, me too. And on that note, I feel like this podcast has gone so far off the rails that we should finish it.
All right. Should we hit one topic you actually wanted to talk about before we wrap up, or have we gone too long?
I mean, Dan, have you got any hot topics or hot dogs for this man?
I don't like hot dogs. I don't trust them.
I think we've got a pretty clear picture of Jordy and his inner workings.
Yeah,
and if you want to hear more about his hatred for
people
Everything.
and cyclists and skateboarders, you should check out Death or Glory, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Jordy,
I should probably reiterate, there should have been a little disclaimer. My thoughts and processes do not reflect the room at all. No, if you want to see some shows or check out anything that I'm up to, probably the best way to get in contact is jordy.comedian on Insta.
Jordy.comedian on Insta.
And I post a lot of shit about cats.
I mean, that's
Who
great.
doesn't like
a lot of
that?
stuff about cats.
Cats
I
are
love my
fantastic.
cats.
Look, I'll say one of your most endearing traits, one of your few endearing traits
Oh,
to
hang
me.
on. Zach wants something. What? That's 3 compliments in one day. I haven't seen you for 6 months.
Your love for cats, okay?
Fucking love cats.
You love cats, and I'll give you that, man. I'll give you that.
I'm only trying to get somewhere in this to make enough money to buy property in a house. Shitty house. I don't care what the house is like, so I can have a cat sanctuary.
That's legit,
So
man.
if anyone would like
I'll
to
pay
donate, my bank details are 1247.
Okay, man. That's enough.
I should do a GoFundMe. Fuck it.
GoFundMe. I want to build a cat sanctuary.
GoFundMe. I want more cats.
You got to actually do it literally like that. GoFundMe. I want more
I
cats.
want my cats. Nothing more to the description.
No. But he's got to do the. He's got to do the. Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Jordy,
I'm
we're
going to start a GoFundMe. No, don't talk over me while I'm doing it. I'm going to start a GoFundMe for cats, so check that out.
Wow.
Told, man.
Slammed.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks to have you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Jordy.
Thank you.
I feel like my soul has gotten a little lighter from this experience.
No one's ever said that. Oh, I don't know how to process that, but thank you.
That's okay. And now, we're going to finish this. That's the end of the podcast. Dan, anything else you want to say?
Nah, man.
Yeah, you good?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I love the hesitancy.
You need a playoff track or something.
We'll have one. All good.
Right one. You got all the equipment. Oh.
Yeah, well, give me time. All right. That'll do.
See ya. Just cut it.